Miss Anne? Hi. Okay. Hi, Miss Anne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Hi,
how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. Right. And my second guest is Tolu. Hello, Tolu.
Hiya.
Oh, she's there. All right. Hi, Tolu. How are you? Oh. I think this is my first time of meeting Miss Anne.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Property Hour show. Mr. KB Bossman.
Yes.
The only man in the house.
Oh,
Indeed.
I believe
he has to be careful.
That's very true. I have to be careful, but hey, it's a great honor to have you, ladies, and I believe tonight we're gonna have an amazing night, and with Vicky in the driving seat, I believe that it's going to be more girl to girl, lady to lady, but I'm going to relax and also dive in when I'm given the opportunity. But I believe that it's going to be an amazing time. But Miss Anne, welcome. That's your first time. Tony, we've hosted her a couple of months ago, and it was amazing. And we believe that we'll have a great night. So great. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. So should I start with Tolu?
Yes.
I'll have to, ask you how you got into, setting up sister, company, the property business.
Yeah.
Was it you who got Miss Anne to join you, or the two of you decided from the onset?
So, as you know, we both have backgrounds in property, in the construction world, and that sort of thing. And I think that we were both doing our own things. And then there came a time when our paths dovetailed together and it made logical sense to work together. So essentially I'd always wanted to go into property development, and I had these sort of this process of trying to find somebody I could work with the same ethos, values, and that kind of thing, and had trialed a few people. And Miss Anne had always worked in property development for corporate, and then she got to the stage where she wanted to do her own thing. She'd done massive projects, and she just wanted to step back and sort of do something for herself. And so that was when we had the conversation about working together to set up Sister. And I have to say I have absolutely no regrets. It's been quite exciting, birthing a new company, and and everything that goes with putting together a new company.
Oh, okay, great. So how long have the two of you been in this business, from starting this company together?
I'll leave Miss Anne to answer that.
Yes. We've been going for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, your passion for property is in the family, isn't it?
I would say so, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it started.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I think I've mentioned to you. My father was in real estate growing up, and I started my career as a quantity surveyor.
Okay.
Then went into became a realtor, investor, and now development. So it's like I've come full circle. And I think those were the triggers for Miss Anne to go into the property industry. She's an architect by training, and then she went into property project management. So
Okay. So when you guys decided to come together, set this company up, were there any fears how to start, go about things? Because definitely people might have mentioned, are you sure you can do this, especially being women?
Lisa?
Yes. So I think I will start answering that question by really also talking about the fact that we have been in the in an industry that has been challenging for women anyway. So so I think that our careers have always been I won't say having to prove ourselves, but having to be confident in ourselves and our abilities and finding our voice within our industry initially.
Okay.
So I think that by the time it came to starting our own business, we came to that point from different paths.
Okay.
But we came to the same point, and by the time we came there, got to that point, it wasn't really. We were fairly confident about our skill set and our expertise, and we were fairly confident of what we bring to the table. So I don't think we had any doubt about what our abilities are or what our expertise are. Actually, my challenge has been the transition from a corporate world to being a small business owner.
Okay.
And that's a totally different scale, and it requires actually different skill sets, but so that's been more the challenge rather than can I do it or do I have the expertise. We feel fairly confident in our in all the things that we've done over our careers. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, turn over 30 years. So I think the challenge has been more, we had different challenges. For me, it's been more actually switching from corporate to being a small business owner.
Okay. All right, great. One other thing that I wanted to ask both of you was, the financial backing, because I remember I had a chat with two sisters as well who are into property management, and they said when they were starting their business, they had to, whilst working, they had to try and raise some money on the side until they were convinced, I think now is the time to start our business. In your case, how easy was it for you guys to get the finance to set up this business?
So we didn't look at it from a finance point of view, because as you're probably aware, I've been in the investing world, so I'm aware of different ways that you can finance a project without actually putting your own money down.
Right.
So that was the point we came from, where we were more focused on getting a project that worked, a project that we could package, we could give to investors, we could give to lenders, and say to them, this is our offering, what can you do for us? So we didn't have, I won't say we had a problem as such, and certainly where in the process we've come across transactions where we've had fully funded within 4 weeks. It just so happened that we had issues with planning and all the sort of minute details, which was very surprising, because all this happened during COVID, when everybody said, so we found COVID actually quite positive in that way. And then also another thing was, we also tried to focus on projects where we didn't need to put as much money, so we do stuff with planning gain, so you're not putting so much capital down to do those kind of deals. So you put your minimal money down, get your planning gain, and it's when you get your planning gain and sell on, that's when you liquidate and just look at your income from that. So we've just been very careful, and I think we're putting our thinking hat on to be able to create a business where initially we can build capital in order to go on to bigger stuff every time. I think that's the best way to describe it. We weren't sort of rushing in and trying to build 100 units. No, we wanted a journey that would take us from so many units upwards, and that's what we've stuck at.
And just to add some more to that, is that for your listeners who might be listening, so we started we didn't need a huge capital to initially start the business. It was quite straightforward to start the business because it was a business about property development, and the business wasn't funding the development. We were going to fund it externally, so we didn't need a huge amount of capital to actually start the business. And the little capital that we needed, we have saved it, and we got that from our savings, and that's how we were able to start the business. But the main funding that we need, we deal with it project by project, and so we're analyzing projects very, very regularly. But the projects we decide to take on, we analyze it to quite an in-depth level before we start talking to external funders and private investors.
Okay, all right. Now, the next thing I wanted to ask both of you is the challenges from the start of the journey till where you are now, because you guys are very successful in what you're doing. Can you tell us some of the challenges? Because in every business venture, definitely there might be some challenges. What are some of the and if possible, tell us how you were able to overcome those challenges.
Okay, from me, the biggest challenge was choosing the right partner to do this business with.
Okay.
So, like I said, I've had this journey 5 or 6 years where I've tried to work with different people.
Okay.
And it can start from something as basic as just having different values about what you want to achieve in the process. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that we as sister have always said, and we just agreed, we never even had to discuss it, was that we try and do things like commercial to resi developments, but one of the things we always said was we would not build micro flats.
Okay.
Because we did not see it, we did not feel that we were doing justice to our end clients, people who would be buying it, first time buyers who needed a little bit of, yes, it was cheaper, but in the situation we find ourselves in, like COVID, there are issues with mental health, people not being able to have access to outdoor space, rooms too small to work in, and yet they can't go out. So we actually, from ground up, we had the same value system, value and ethics, and so it was so easy. We just fell into place. So that's one of the things. Another thing was about building our power team. So we've got to a point where we have a good power team behind us. So at any point in the process, it's just a phone call or an email, and we can progress matters very quickly. So that took a while, building a power team who understood us and what we stood for and our value system. So, those are some of the challenges that I personally will say I faced in developing this new company. But I'll leave Miss Ann to tell you what her challenges were.
Okay. All right. Miss Ann, over to you.
Okay, so I think one of my biggest challenge has been moving from the corporate world into being a small business owner, which I mentioned a little bit earlier on. And I think that having spent, I would say, decades in the corporate world and that structure, where, I guess you have these sort of teams around you, and in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. It's good in a way because you've got that support system around you, so that there's a legal team, there's a sales team, there's a marketing team, there's a communications team, and so you get these teams around you to help you deliver the project. But I formed sister with Tonu, one of the things I found quite difficult was I had to take a step back, and I had to do these things myself. I had to, so something that would maybe just take me, that would be a 10-minute phone call with somebody from the legal team in my corporate world, could take me like half a day trying to understand what this issue is, what does it mean, what are the implications for the business, for me I'd have to decipher it and understand it myself, and then decipher it, and then make a decision as to how it applies to me. So things took a lot longer, things like, having to build our website, because, again, when you have small funds to start up with, you kind of get onto YouTube, you get onto a tutorial, and then you build your website yourself. So those again, that's kind of quite time consuming. So I think the challenge for me coming from the corporate world and into being a small business owner is that having to be very, very agile, having to be able to get to a point where you get to 80% is good enough. You get to good enough rather than perfect, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So that's been a bit of a challenge trying to get that. But I have to say, despite it being a challenge, it's been quite exhilarating, because I'm pushing myself. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm doing different things, and I can, and it's growth, and when you stop growing, then what is left. So that's been my challenge. And then, generally, then in the industry, being a female architect, and then I've worked across the different stages of projects. So I've worked for construction companies that are building on site, where it's just I hate to say, sort of big hairy men on site, and who can be sort of quite patronizing and say, don't worry your pretty head about that, love, we'll sort it out for you, love, and you are the client, or you are the architects trying to make sure that they do the work correctly. So that's in my career, and that's been quite a challenge. And I think it's taken it took a while to be confident in those situations where everything is sort of set up for you to doubt yourself. You're the only woman there, for example, and it's all men saying, this wall is straight, and you're looking at it thinking it's not, but they're like, no, it is. They're like, no, it's not. And so you have to kind of learn to find your voice and your confidence in those sorts of situations. So that, as a career, that has been a challenge, finding my voice, finding my confidence, to be able to stand my ground on projects, on site, and so that's been a challenge that I've dealt with.
Wow. That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, this is Starr Radio UK, the Property Hour show. Here is Vicky with my co-host, Mr. KBA Bosman. Our guests are Tolu Abuaba and Misan Nkokore, if I mentioned it right. Yes, wonderful. Wow. And today we are talking about challenges and success of Black women in property. We celebrated Black History Month. If you are watching us, please share, get people to join in. Send us your questions on all social media handles, Starr Radio UK. If you have anything to say to our wonderful guests, please send us your questions. You have any contribution, send it to us, and we will present it to our lovely guests. KBA Bossman, what do you have? I'm not going to leave you to just relax, cross your leg, and be watching and sipping a glass of wine. Honestly.
Oh, so that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
No,
yes.
Yes. She knows very well that I do that. So right. Oh no. To be honest, it's quite relaxing, and I'm enjoying and listening to the conversation. The interview is so inspiring, because when you get women into certain positions, things change. I'm a believer of the fact that women are good managers than men, and I appreciate and applaud you, ladies, for the great job that you've been doing. But I want to take you back a little bit where Vicky started off from. Now, in regards to somebody will say you had a silver spoon startup, because that was already in the environment of properties or real estate. So for you guys, you had a good startup, even though Tolu, you mentioned that you've got the background in terms of finance and investment and all those stuff. So for somebody listening to us, my question is, did you have a firm foundation or a push from Dad? Is that
Right.
let me throw it to
Okay.
who? Okay.
Throw it to Miss Anne. Yeah.
Miss Anne,
Miss Anne,
okay.
okay.
Please.
I don't. My dad never pushed us to do anything in particular, but he empowered us to believe we could do anything we wanted, and I think that the fact that he was in the industry, maybe we were generally more comfortable with being in that environment, and it wasn't so scary to consider that as a profession. But we were never pushed to be in that profession. What he did say, and what I can say categorically, is that the confidence he gave us, we've got the 5 of us, 5 siblings, 4 girls and 1 boy, and what he did give us was the belief that you can do absolutely anything that you want, and supported us in everything that we did. So I think that, so Dad's influence is more about the confidence booster and the belief rather than the actual industry itself. We got into our industry, but we had to make it in the industry, because Dad wasn't there in those conversations, where somebody's trying to undermine you, and Dad wasn't there when you have to say to somebody, actually you're wrong, and what you're saying and what you're putting forward does not work. So you have to, you in the end, when you're in there in that meeting by yourself, or in that room by yourself, or on a cold winter's day on site by yourself, it's that self-belief, and it's that belief in yourself is what keeps you in that industry. So that's really the situation. I mean, my dad, we grew up in Nigeria, and then we came here as teenagers to study and then get into our careers. So we were never actually, his businesses were not in this country, so we've had to make our own way, and in our careers in this country, and then in the businesses that we formed in this country.
Okay.
So if I may ask, so if you guys were not, going into properties, Dad would have been happy, taking on another, profession.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've got a sister who's in the States, and she's a medical doctor. And we've got another sister who is really she accountancy and computer science, so a business professional, if I can call it that. And so so we've ended up in, my brother he runs his own fintech, so we've ended up in very, very different places. Actually, it's just Tono and I who have ended up in that in the property industry.
Wow, you guys are a very brainy family. I'm even jealous. Parents might be very, very proud. In Africa, usually they will set it out, either you become this or that. So if you divert a little bit, why are you going to do that? But I wanted my daughters to, either be a doctor or a lawyer or that kind of. That was why I asked. Our father was very liberal, although obviously when you're growing up and as a teenager you never think that, but when you reflect as an adult, he was very, very liberal, in this sense, in allowing us to be ourselves, in allowing us to be free, but the self-belief that he instilled in us is just especially now as an adult and as parents, is just something that we value and treasure. KBA, you asked the question. It's just I just chipped in.
No, I mean,
okay. Can I chip in there?
Okay.
I think
you can.
I agree with everything Miss Anne has said, but I think the word that really defines how we were raised was mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah, the people earn a lot of money teaching about mindset, but we were brought up with mindset. So essentially, he empowered you in everything you did, and you know. And I remember never actually thinking I couldn't do anything. It just never crossed my mind. All I ever thought was, well, if I set my mind to it, I'll do it. and that's how he raised his and I think it was probably because he had 4 daughters. He really wanted them to be able to stand on their own and be independent if they needed to be, you know. So that's so we were not born with silver spoons in our mouths.
I thought you were born with. I was thinking
the tool he gave you was good education and mindset. Yeah, and sent you off into the big wide world. Yeah, so.
That's great. That's one of where I was heading towards. That with regards to your experience, and you know, we are in a society that women are coming up with so much invention and creativity, and I mean making some difference out there. Now, where you are now, and where I believe that still you guys have some serious plans to make a difference, are you thinking of anything like coaching or passing what you've learned all this while, I mean passing it to the younger generation? Is there any plans like that?
So, Misa?
Yeah, so I think we do that naturally, actually. It's not formalized in any way, but for example, I mentor a couple of young ladies who are alumni from a brilliant school called the African Science Academy. And actually they're based in Ghana, and they are a school that taking girls to do maths and physics and computer science, and they do the 2A level. These are girls who are brilliant girls. So I think they've only got 25 spaces, and last year I think they had 500 applicants. So they these are like literally geniuses that would not have the opportunity to get this education in Africa, but that if they get a chance, they can go to the African Science Academy, and a lot of them get scholarships to universities both here in Ghana, Africa, England, USA. And I mentor, and I volunteered to mentor a couple of the girls. A couple of the girls are actually architectural students. So we, and that's just one thing. I'm also, we're involved in charities in our local communities, and we do support things. I mean, we do little things like we always. So my husband and I, we always, whenever we have an opportunity, we go into our children's schools that we've given talks about on Black History, on this Black History Month. So it's not a structured way, but and it's not all about property, but we do try and make sure that we get involved in supporting the younger generation below us, particularly generations, in the Black and ethnic minority community, because it's tough. There's so many things they've got to work that much harder, and we try and encourage and give them that support in whatever way we can. So not formal and structured, but it is something that, again, Tony talked about some of our values and our integrity. That is a really key thing of to who we are as people and our values.
Yeah, that's great. Let me take a last one, and Vicky will come in. We're celebrating Black History Month, and I mean, I know we've been talking about Black Lives Matter and all those stuff. Yes, I believe that. I was going to say something else, but life is life. But what I really want to put across is that you've been in this field for nearly 2 decades, and the challenges that you face. Can you give us an example of how you started, the challenge you faced, and along the line, what you faced that you believe that it can also be a learning curve for somebody listening to us? So it's a 2-in-1 question. Your first challenge, how you overcame it, and the second is the biggest challenge you've ever faced.
So is this question different from the one I asked previously?
slightly.
Okay, but there's a twist.
A twist.
Okay.
In the sense that with color added to it. Color as
yes,
the skin color.
in the skin color. Yes.
Have you
I was being careful, but I think you've hit it.
So
let me. It's difficult for us to perhaps present the narrative that you are leading us to, because when we came here, in a way we had advantages because we went to boarding school.
Right.
We were amongst different nationalities, and so in that environment you're really protected. Really protected. You don't even notice there's issues with color, with race, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's only when you go out in the big wide world, maybe when you go to university, you start sort of noticing a few little things, and then you think to yourself, am I imagining it? Am I not imagining it? But don't forget, you've been protected. Your foundation is solid, so you're able to navigate stuff, cope with stuff, question people, put people in awkward positions so they can answer you and explain why certain things are different. So I personally, I think the race issue is always there, but it depends on how you handle it, how you navigate it, how you respond to it. And I think because of those advantages we had, perhaps we're not as exposed to the most negative sides of it as one would expect. That has been my experience, if I'm honest with you, because in everything I've done, I just have that interaction with a whole blend of people, a whole mixture of people. So, and I guess you attract people who are similar to you as well. So it protects you in a way. I'll leave Miss Anne to explain her experience, but I would say it's as bad as I've heard people go through. Don't forget, we came with mindset, so we never really believed. If somebody said you couldn't do anything, you're thinking, yeah, I can. Of course I can. A kind of attitude.
The mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about this question, and to say that there hasn't been issues around race it would be incorrect. However, it's never quite overt. Nothing is ever quite it's never happened like in your face. Sort of for me, I'm talking about my personal experience.
Okay.
And I think that because of, I guess, the way I've been brought up, there's a bit more resilience in there. So there's a bit more self-belief. And so I think that people talk about death by 1,000 cuts. Little things happen. But I think that there's enough sort of resilience in us and the way we've been brought up that it never quite, little bit heal before another cup goes in. So we kind of pick ourselves up and then you sort of keep going. And I think that we have been, because of that level of excellence, we then become really good at what we do in the work. So I can say hand on heart, I was in my corporate work, I was really good at what I did, and that then there's no question that way. You're not. There's no question. There's no questioning when it comes to that, because I'm really good at what I do. I deliver my projects. My projects are, they come in on budget. They come, so then there's no, there's no sort of hiding place. But you do get little snippets come here and there. But I think that one of the things I certainly make a conscious decision of is, if somebody's being funny or whatever, that's just their issue, that's just their problem. I'm not going to sit down there and take it as a burden and put that monkey on my back. That's your issue. As long as I know I'm clear what I'm doing, and it's true to my values. If you don't like it, tough, you just miss an opportunity. So I think it's these things exist. and you do come across it, but I think your response and your resilience is also a big part of how you perceive it, how you deal with it, how it affects you. And so from my personal experience, these things happen. And don't get me wrong, if anybody is behaving in a way that is, I will call them out. I will say, excuse me, I will always make sure that wherever I can and in the most appropriate way, not let them get away with it. So it's not a case of allowing all of that to wash over and go under the bridge. It will always be dealt with, but my reaction and the way it affects me is also important for my self-esteem, for my mental health. So I don't know if that's answered your question, but that's quite a big part of how I deal with that and how that is dealt with.
I think it answered it, but because of time, I wanted a very peculiar challenge and how you guys were able to handle it and overcome it. So that was, I don't know if Tony would like to tackle that, but
peculiar challenge
in business, in business, in the property business.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll give you an example. Missa knows about this.
Okay.
So I went to. I had somebody who inquired about a property.
Okay.
I took her around. I showed her the property. This is for my letting and management business. She looked at it. She said she was interested. Fine. Left. Messaged her. Then she said to me, "Oh, I can't see you online. I've googled you online. I can't see your company. I can't see you." I said, "Oh wow, goodness me, I'm everywhere. I'm on social media. I'm this, that. The only thing you wouldn't find right now is that my website is under construction." But I sent her all the links, all my social, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, you name it. I sent everything over to her. This is a lady who needed to have a guarantor because she wasn't earning enough money to cover her rent.
Right.
I was happy to do that. I said, yeah, happy to give you a homeowner as long as you brought a homeowner to guarantee the tenancy. This is all discussed in the meeting. I don't want to say where she's from, but I think where she was from had a bearing on why she was reacting the way she did.
Right.
So I came back to the office, and the next day after that, she said to me, "Well, I've decided I don't want to go proceed with you because I think it's too much of a..." No, actually, she said she had no guarantor, nobody who would guarantee her a tenancy. So I said, surely you must have a friend, somebody who actually cares enough about you, who wants to see you move forward with your life. You've been living with your mum and dad for 6 years since your last tenancy. You're desperate to move. She said, "Yeah, actually, there's a friend. I'm going to have lunch with her." I said, I empowered her. I said, "Yeah, you go there. You ask her. What's the worst that will happen?" She will say, "No, I can't help you." Yeah. And the best that will happen will be you get what you want. That's the outcome. So I left her with that positive vibe, and she calls me and she says, "Yeah, I had a meeting," and she says she will help me and everything, but I decided I don't want to do it with you. And I said, "Why?" I think it's too much of a responsibility for her to use you as the agent if she's guaranteeing my tenancy. Oh, okay.
Really?
Really? Okay, fine, no problem. Guess what? A month later, I get a little text saying, I'm reviewing my options. Can I call you?"
That's a very interesting one.
I said to her, so what's the options? "Oh, I've decided I want the flat." So I messaged her a really nice message. I said, "Given that you had all these reservations, I think that we would have to jump through so many hoops to satisfy you that you're happy with us to rent you a property, a property that you will need a guarantor for, which you cannot pay by yourself. So I'm sorry, I decline your offer." So there you go. So that is one of the things Miss and I have in common. If people behave badly, then sorry, you're not going to get away with it. I didn't have to say anything to her. Yeah. But I'm sure, 100% sure, she still not moved. She's still living with her mum, but I wasn't having any of it. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I
think the son wanted to say something.
I was just saying that we're quite happy to walk away. I mean, we're not going to put up with anything just because for business.
For the money's sake, no.
Well, we'll walk away. Became family.
Oh dear. Ladies and gentlemen, the discussion is getting more and more interesting. If you've just joined us, this is Starr Radio UK, the Property Hour show. And today, in connection to the Black History Month, we are discussing challenges and success of Black women in property. And I've got with me here two lovely ladies. They are also sisters. Tolu Abuoba and Misan Nwokuri. If you want to call us in our studio lines, are 0208-133-2257, 0208-133-2258. Please contribute to this program. Send us your messages if you want to say anything to our lovely sisters here. We are here. Anything.
Okay.
Anything.
Oh God.
As long as it's not the lady that you didn't take her.
Oh my God. Yes.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say, but she will know it's her.
It would be good know how to go.
She will know it's her. I think we all plead on her behalf for you to give her a second chance. Yes. Yes.
Essentially wrong where I am helping somebody and they feel they're doing me a favor when I'm trying to help them. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. And I think that we all have to stand up for what is right in every aspect of our life. I have to feel in control. This is what Miss Ann was saying. You can't let people get away with it, but you do not have to be aggressive, verbal, whatever. But I think I made my point very clear.
And I think you'll be a very good head teacher,
Oh,
I'm telling you, you'll be a very good head teacher as well.
It's like you're in my mind.
Really? Oh my!
A principal.
I was assessing you the way you were thinking and the way you vice chancellor.
Yes.
Oh, head teacher is
I've been elevated.
A vice chancellor. Yeah. And the son will be the assistant. Right. Going back to what we were discussing, there's another big problem when Tolu was talking about her interaction with this lady. Now, I have experienced that before, especially when you are dealing with clients trying to get landlords, clients to bring you business. As soon as you pick up the phone and they realize your accent, it's another issue. Or when you are in the office, maybe a recommendation, and someone walks in there and realizes that you are a person of color, the reaction changes. Can you tell us what can we do about this? I know that sometimes people might just brush it off and say that, it doesn't matter, but it depends on what you have on offer. But when people have that mind that, look, I want to deal with a white person, I have this reservation about dealing with blacks, they are dodgy, they are this. Sometimes they might have bad experiences with one person who is an Afro-Caribbean person. I have been experiencing that as well in the past, whereby I was very optimistic, but when the person realized I'm an African, it was a different ball game together. The person didn't get back to me again. How do we tackle this? Have you experienced this as well?
Well, absolutely. Haven't you seen the spelling of my name? So oh
my goodness, you got me there.
No, Vicky, you get the phone call because
I'm telling you. You see, I have a story to tell. Honestly, if you got time. I remember I was looking for work, and because of the name, I quickly got calls to come for interviews. As soon as I got there, I realized that people were peeping through the window. Is this the lady we called for the interview? Then I sat there for about an hour. I said, come on, I'm waiting for my interview. Then they come and said, you sure you have continued? I said, yes, of course. You called me to come in for an interview. Then they go like, I'm sorry, the job is gone.
So we're always one step behind you because of our names. So I will go first. I think my view of the world is you can't, if somebody feels that way, what can you do? You can't change how they're going to feel. So I think my energy would be wasted trying to convince them to change their mind. So I and my sister, Tona and I are of the same view. We're not going to sit down and waste precious emotional, mental energy trying to convince you not to think that way. Instead, what we focus on is, first of all, we're brilliant, so we're confident in that. And secondly, we put in our business, it's all about the numbers. People are out there to make money. They want to get a good deal. And so rather than focus on energy to say, oh, you must talk to me because of this, we spend our time and energy looking for a good deal, a deal that works, a deal that is unquestionable, so that we can get down to business. And we're not going to sit down and spend time. There are enough people, if there's a good deal, that will come into the deal. There are not a lot of good deals about, and believe me, we have to work really, really hard. We, for every, maybe it's like 1, 2, or 2% of the things that we assess and appraise that might have legs. There's a lot of rubbish out there. So we spend our time and energy focusing on getting the right deals, because if you get the right deals, people want the money, so they will have to force themselves to see beyond the color to do that. So that's our approach. So we've been there where you say your name is Miss, and they go, what Nissan? No, I've had somebody who says, can I call you Anne instead of Miss Anne? I'm like, that's not my name. My name is not Anne. My name is Miss Anne. You just need to put a syllable in front of that. So, there are many, but am I going to sit down there and take that person and use that, then waste my mental and emotional energy? No, her problem. I'm going to insist she calls me my full name, and she needs to deal with that. So we don't focus our energies on trying to convince people to change their mind. We focus on the things we have control over, which is let's get a good deal that we can offer up, that people can see clearly that it's a good deal, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, but you guys are very, like Tolu said, the mindset. So you guys know where you're going. You are not moved by whatever anybody says. But other people, I get very frustrated, and if you don't take care, the frustration will make you, drift a little bit, and you are almost giving up. So in fact, that is a very big thing that is happening to a lot of businesses, especially when the person is Afro-Caribbean, and even worse when the person is a woman. Unless when the client, this is a funny one, when the client sees you as a very beautiful lady, so they just want to deal with a pretty woman.
But I will just say to re-emphasize what Peter's saying. The key is to refine your offering and make sure you're really good at it. Really good, because in my experience, it doesn't matter. I always find it very amusing. It doesn't matter what color I am, or the fact that I sound so English on the phone, and then when I turn up, they're looking past my shoulder and saying, waiting for somebody else to arrive, kind of thing. What matters is that there's a need somewhere, and you can support that need. I've given you an example of where somebody had this kind of mental thing, but their need for that property was so high. They swallowed their pride and they came back to me. Another thing is, if you deliver a very high product, these people introduce their friends. And before they get to you, they've explained to them, actually, she's not one of us. Kind of. They know how they'll explain it. But who cares? You're delivering the service. I put a lot of pressure on, as Mitton said, she puts a lot of pressure on herself to make sure she's 100. It's not like 99, but she wants to do 100% all the time.
Yeah.
And what I find with our community is that people can be a bit lackadaisical.
Okay.
They just think, I can get away with 50%. Oh, they'll understand. No, you can't do that. You have to be better than the best person.
Okay.
And as long as you're pushing and driving yourself, you don't have a problem. The right people will come. There's enough money out there for people to make.
Okay.
My clients are not all black. My clients are not all white. My clients are not all brown. I have a mixture, and there has to be a reason, because I'm able to give them what they want.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how I think.
Yeah. On this same topic, do you think that we patronize ourselves when it comes to business? A black person to another African black person.
Let me answer that, actually, because the biggest problem I've had as a business person is from fellow black people.
Oh my goodness!
Believe it or not, that has been the biggest problem I've had. So it's so interesting.
Okay. Can you tell me about it? An experience, typical experience.
I just have a really.
They don't want to pay.
Yeah.
They don't want to do what? They don't want to pay.
Please come again, Miss Anne. You said it so quick. Please rewind.
To pay.
They don't want to pay. Oh my. They'll say that reduce it. Give me discount, isn't it?
They don't value professional input. It's always like, okay, there's feeding you stuff you're doing, and then the minute you say, I think we had one experience recently where when the minute we said, okay, we've been working on this for like 6 months, we've done all this work, we've incurred costs, for us to move forward, we need to give you an invoice, not for the past work, but to do more work, and suddenly her daughter was able to help her do the work that we were doing.
Oh. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I think, just sort of back to, I don't think, life is not, square, round, sharp edges. They're mixtures of, different attitudes, different people. And I think for us, that the biggest thing is, I think we have gotten to the point in our lives where we just are not going to be influenced, or our future determined, or our emotions affected by people's views or attitudes. We are proud, we are confident in who we are focused on what we're trying to do, because if you are just totally influenced in that way, you're just never going to move forward. Whether it's people of color themselves are doing it, they'll have their own issue. You'll just be some angry person, because there's always challenges in all sorts of ways, as trying to get your business off the ground, regardless of color, regardless of gender, so there are always challenges. And I think the biggest thing for us is we know some of these challenges, and the way we navigate it is being true to ourselves, being confident in who we are. We are very clear on our offering. We try not to take things personally. It's like, the lady saying, I need to vet you before you start vetting me. Fine, but I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and waste my emotional energy. So I think it is a challenge, because you do have that surname that is you have to spell phonetically, and the name you have to spell phonetically, and you're I mean, I remember in my old job, there'll be guys there who'll be arguing with me about, we're doing residential apartments, building blocks of residential apartments, and we would have these 50-year-old men argue with me about the kitchen layout. And I'll say to them, Steve, when was the last time you were in the kitchen? Because you're not even a modern man. You're not, so, but then you just like, it's again trying to be confident in who you are, and being able to say, listen, you don't know this better than me. I'm not saying I'm in the kitchen all the time, but I'm in the kitchen more than you, and I know this more than you. So we're going to design 300 apartments. I'm not going to sit down here and do the wrong thing because you have a view. So there's challenges. There's challenges everywhere. and there are challenges that are related to the profession, to your color, to your gender, and we I think, stay true to ourselves to be on an even keel. So we're not,
Okay. Because of time, let me just throw the last question to yourselves. Then we'll round up the show. This is very interesting. I wish we could have a part 2. I'm really enjoying this. What is the future for Sister Property Limited? My final question.
Lisa, you can go.
No. Well, the future is that we want to design and deliver homes that are really homes. Homes that people are happy to live in, a safe space for them. Because we don't use the word homes lightly. It's about people's pride. It's about where people live their lives, and it's about mental health issues. It's about being part of the community. And whilst we're small and we're not going to be the huge developers that build thousands of homes, we want to make our own difference in the UK housing market by making really good quality, well-designed homes. Either we build it ourselves or we can sell the well-designed schemes to other developers. But the future is that we will own that space, and we will be it is the thing that will drive us. And where that leads us in terms of numbers of homes, we don't know yet. It's still something that we're going to build up. But for us, it's about being true to our values, being able to deliver homes that we are proud of, and homes that will make a difference in people's lives, really. Not just stuffing homes into spaces so that we can say, right, we've done this development, it's made this amount of money. The profit is not the be all and the end all for us.
Great.
Want to add anything else?
Yeah.
Now, there's a text from David asking that what is your principle for success? Your principle for success.
Success. Oh, good question.
So, Todd, go for that one.
I think we've touched on different things. The first thing was, mindset. Mindset is key. You've got to deliver. You've got to be able to cope with everything that's thrown at you. The second thing is, you've got to push yourself and make yourself good, not just good, better than the next competitor. Always drive yourself forward, so that there is no doubt that if somebody had a choice between you and the next person, there's no reason why they wouldn't have you, because you can deliver the service just as well. The other thing that is also that has also helped us is, I think we both like the growth element of having a business. It forces you to develop yourself, self-development, and do things that you would not ordinarily have done. And so for me, I like to be mentally stimulated in so many different ways. So I remember when I started my career and I worked in a big corporate, I was bored to death because it was the same old. And then I went to a very small company and I had to do everything. And I just came into my own. I blossomed and I found that very exciting. So you need to grow as a professional and as a person. And what I also find is that these sort of tweaks you apply to yourself, it's not just in a professional capacity, it has to be in yourself as a person. So it's almost as if that your development and growth is inextricably linked. There's no, it's part and parcel of your being, kind of thing. So, I think those are just some of the things that I would say you need to be successful in life, in whatever you do, in your career, and that sort of thing. Over to Miss Anne.
I totally agree. Yes. No, I think for me it's you have to get to the point where you really believe in yourself. And for me, it took a while. For me, my career wasn't immediate, and it took me quite a while to build up that self-confidence to to be able to be in a space and be confident enough to hold my own. So that's really, really important, because I think once you have, it's not an overinflated self-belief of yourself, but it's a real good, solid, quiet confidence in, you know what you're doing, you know your stuff, you know, and then that is what gives you the confidence. And just pure determination to, everybody's determined to succeed, but just the determination to achieve your goals. I think, being quite clear, what you want to achieve. So for us in Sister, we're very clear what we want to achieve. It's not just about making money, but it's about also creating something that is, that is more tangible than that. And that's what drives us. That's what helps us make our decisions in what we're doing. And ultimately, that's what's going to lead to our success, I believe.
Right. Okay. Can you give us some details? People want to get in touch with the two of you. If you could please give us your details for them to get in touch with you.
Our website is sisterproperty.com. And if you go on there, you can the contact details on how you can get in touch with us.
Or you can use hello@sisterproperty.com. You come direct to one of us. It's we don't screen it. We like to interact with people who work with us.
Okay. All right. On that interesting note, this program is come to an end. We thank you so. Oh, I know. I wish we would have a part 2. Because I've got so many things to ask both of you, but at least whatever was discussed here, I myself have learned a lot from it. I've been impacted as well, and I'll make sure that all those principles make it part of my life. We all learn as we go along. So thank you so much, Tolu and Misan, for joining us on this program, Property Hour Show. We hope you will join us again another time for us to continue this discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, there you are. We've come to the end of the Property Hour Show. This show was sponsored by Cornerstone International Group Limited. I also want to say thank you to our listeners and viewers. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout the program. I also want to say a big thank you to my co-host KBA Bossman, giving me the opportunity to be at the driver's seat. I'm really enjoying myself to the max. And I also say a final thank you to Mr. Frank Davids behind the scenes. We appreciate you. Mr. KB Bossman, before I round up quickly, what's happening on Sunday? I'm giving you 5 seconds. I'll make it 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Sunday, so it's going to be amazing. There's a new album from a very, very powerful anointed lady. And also we have an international report of some good work, charity work that is happening in the scene, behind the scenes, I beg your pardon, and what it looks like to be an evangelist on the grounds in Africa. So it's going to be a very interesting.
So we should all tune into Faith Talk on Sunday.
Faith Talk on Sunday is going to be amazing.
Okay, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much once again, and take good care of yourselves. So much. Yes, and I think I'll one day visit you at your offices and report back to our viewers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Stay blessed and stay safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay,
thank you, and take good care of yourselves. Please observe the government guidelines on COVID-19. And keep washing your hands, protecting your face, and keeping your 2-meter distance. Here at Starr Radio UK, we are doing the same. So please also observe the government guidelines. On that note, we'll say good night, take care, and stay blessed. Nothing less. That's what KBA Bossman ends his show with. So
amazing.
It's fortune. Mokolo mosusu tolala motuna yoki fonelele nayoki mamango ya mwasi atuni yo papa okosinga lisusu kaka osambila oyebaka susu basali bazobosika vraiment